Hello folks, I just wanted to make a quick video here because there's a dark side to ADHD, a real dark side, and I suffered my whole life, and I was just reading back through my diagnosis letter, and I was actually diagnosed when I was 11 years old. That's when I was diagnosed with ADHD, but was never really I don't know, put into my medical records, or I never really received any treatment for it at the time. And a few years back, I pursued some treatment. I'd had, the doctors had been trying to prescribe me antidepressants and all kinds of things like mirtazapine, sertraline, loads of, I can't even think of all of them off the top of my head, but there was like 4 or 5 that they tried me on, and the effects were extreme. When I see other people that take these drugs, and they seem to operate quite well on them, but for somebody who has ADHD, these doctors giving those types of medication, it's really dangerous. It really sends you into, it really triggers some real negative thoughts. But I wanted to actually talk a little bit about, obviously after I went and got treatment, it's kind of difficult to talk about this stuff, but before I got treatment, I was in a real dark place. I gained loads and loads of weight, and I'm like 21.5 stone now. Don't get me wrong, I'm a strong guy, but I gained so much weight, and my physical appearance and my mental health and everything was affected. All the things that I used to do, all the things that I used to love doing, I no longer find any enjoyment in doing them at all. Can't even find the time to ride my motorbike. It's sitting right next to me. Look at that, look. Sitting right next to me, and I can't even find the motivation to just go out on a little ride on my motorbike. And it's something that I love doing. And I get treatment now for this ADHD, and sometimes I get the feeling like it's just not quite enough. It's just not quite. And this ADHD stuff, I think it stems from when my mother was giving birth to me, and I died. I ended up with brain damage, and it's affected my ability to think not think logically, think normally, like the way normal people think. Don't get me wrong, my problem solving skills are next to nothing, like they're not next to nothing, they're amazing. I could take that motorbike apart and put it back together, and I never had any training to do it. I just can do it, I can just problem solve through just about any task. And this whole structure that I'm sitting in right now, this shed that I've built, I built it all. And I didn't do any plans. I didn't make any plans out, draw any plans. I just built it from plans in my head. And I'm sitting on a swing that I created. Yeah. So I do have the capability to do just about anything. Just about anything. But the motivation to do it. And now that because I went through so much in my 20s, I gained loads of weight and so much happened to me. My body is broken now. My spine is crushed. I've had I don't know how many broken bones, and I've gained so much weight that the ADHD fatigue that I suffer from and the ADHD burnout that I suffer from is made exponentially worse because I'm carrying so much weight. Because it takes me so much effort to do everything. It's debilitating. Yeah. And people don't really understand the pressure in society to be normal and do normal things, and it's really hard. It's really hard. And it might just seem like to normal people that it's so simple, you know, everything's so easy to do. You know, everything's so easy to just monotonize life and just get through the little trivial things that people do all the time. But when you have ADHD and you're only medicated to a certain extent, and it only really takes the edge off, it doesn't really help. It doesn't really make that much of a difference that it can change anything really. And one of the major things that gives me anxiety is that one day they could just turn around and say, right, that's it, we're not prescribing that type of medication anymore. They nearly did it during COVID and during this Brexit thing. You know, they nearly took away all those types of medication, and it's really the only medication that I've ever taken that works. And I mean, it's easy for me to be happy and to fake my smile and to show people a side of me that isn't even really me. Not anymore. You know how high the suicide rate is in ADHD and Asperger's and everybody that's on the spectrum? The suicide rate is exponentially higher, and I don't think it's because of what we actually suffer from. It's because of the societal expectations of people that cause it. You know, it's caused by the pressure to perform in a certain way, in a certain regimented fashion that isn't really possible for people like me. It really is difficult, you know, and there's so many men out there that I think are in a similar situation to me, you know, probably undiagnosed. And to get a diagnosis now, I was quite lucky at the time. There wasn't really that much of a pressure on the mental health organisations to perform these diagnoses. But without that diagnosis, and if you suspect that you have it without having that diagnosis and without being able to get the medication that I've got, you will probably lead a very bleak life, because I did. I mean, I really pushed myself to do certain things. You know, I'm ex-military. I was in the parachute regiment, and one of the reasons I left the parachute regiment was the pressure to be like all of the rest of the guys. And I could see there was guys in the parachute regiment that were the same as me. You could see they suffered from the same thing as me, and they struggled as well. But all the vaccinations and whatnot that I got in the parachute regiment, I think there was an element of that caused even more fatigue, even more burnout, you know. And there is certain links to certain things like that, and just the timelines and where it all came from, it all kind of seems to match up. But honestly, I'm more of a mess than people realise, and it's hard. People need to understand that ADHD isn't something simple to get over. You can't just miraculously cure yourself of it. And people are saying that it's I've seen all these videos online about what people think it is. People that don't suffer from it, they seem to put out there that it's something that it's really not. And it annoys the hell out of me when I watch these videos, and people like Tom Cruise is going, oh, it's just a deficiency in food, you just need to eat differently and all that kind of shit. That is fucking bollocks. But yes, I don't know where it's came from. I don't know how it's so prolific in our society today. I know that there are societies out there that have a lower percentage of people that suffer this way, but and people like the Amish, people in America, you know, the people in the spectrum within their communities is exponentially less than what it is in communities that vaccinate their babies, and they do all sorts of things. And just even talking about it, you know, like, it's hard to articulate exactly where I see this stuff going and where I see it coming from. I see patterns, but struggle to explain those patterns. I see how things really are in society. I see the lies and the political brainwashing that has people are exerted to, and normal people, they're not really, when I speak to them, they can't really see it the same way I can see it. It's so plain and it's so obvious to me, because I see these patterns emerging everywhere, but I can't articulate where these patterns come from, and I can't explain how I'm seeing them. So, you know, I think I'm unique in the way that I suffer from ADHD and I suffer from dyslexia, because dyslexia is a completely different way of thinking, and ADHD, the combination of the two, the mesh of the two, allows me to do things like this, build amazing things, take a motorbike apart and put it back together. But it doesn't allow me to conform to the regiment of society and the dark thoughts and the dark impact that it has on life, on my life. And I try my very best to be a positive influence on everybody around me. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it doesn't help, sometimes I'm terrible at it, but I really try and be positive for the people around me, to try and pass on that positive energy. Yeah, I suppose I'm just having one of those days where the thoughts in my brain are spiraling out of control and I can't really function properly. But I thought, why not share what I'm actually going through and educate people in how this affects people with ADHD, and also if they're undiagnosed ADHDs and they come across slightly weird or slightly socially awkward, or, you know, their personality is a little bit off, they're probably on the spectrum. Just a little bit more understanding towards what people go through and how people are in society, because not everybody is the same. Yeah, so that's my message for today. I hope people understand that people with ADHD and that are on the spectrum really do struggle. It really is. a struggle to get through the society.